All right, in this section, we're going to look at transversals. So a line that crosses two or more other lines is a transversal. When it crosses parallel lines, the corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles are congruent, whereas your same side, sometimes called consecutive, interior angles are supplementary. Okay, so let's look at what is the relationship between 1 and 7. So if I look here at 1 and 7, the transversal to get from one intersection to the other is line R. They are both on the outside and they're on different sides of line R, above it and below it. So they're alternate and they're exterior angles. Okay, we don't have any way to say if they're congruent or parallel, congruent or supplementary, because we haven't been told we have parallel lines. Okay, 8 and 13, if I look at 8 and 13, that's this one and this one, put little smiley faces. So those smiley faces, to get from one to the other, I'd have to travel on line Q. So I can tell that they're on the same side of line Q. They're inside lines R and S. So they are same side, interior, sometimes called consecutive interior. Okay, 16 and 10. For 16 and 10, this one here, put a little heart, and this one here. Those two angles, to get from one to the other, I have to drive on line S, and they're in between my two lines and on alternate sides of line S, so these are alternate interior angles. And again, we can't say if these are supplementary or not because we haven't been told any lines are parallel. We can't tell if these are supplementary or not, or congruent or not, because we haven't been told any lines are parallel. The last one I'm going to look at is 12 and 4. So 12 is here and 4 is here. So to get from one to the other, line P is my transversal. They're both on the left side, so they're on the same side, but they're not same side interior because that would be 4 and 9. So they're both on the same side of the transversal. They're also both below the two crossed lines, so they are in the same or corresponding positions. Okay, and again, we have no way of knowing if they're congruent or not because we don't know if we have parallel lines. Okay? All right, when I look at the next section, still using the same picture, it says if P is parallel to Q. So now I do have parallel lines. These two vertical looking lines are parallel. Angle 2 and angle 8 we have information about. So let's look at where angle 2 is and where angle 8 is. So those two starred angles, they are on alternate sides of this transversal, and they are in the interior, so they are alternate interior. And since we know we have parallel lines, that means we know those two angles are congruent, which means their measures are equal. So 7x minus 24 is going to be equal to 3x. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is get all my x's together. I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. Be careful here. Here's a real common mistake we can make. 7x minus 3x is 4x minus 24. And then over here, sometimes you go, oh, everything cancels, so now I'm just going to randomly put an equal sign in here. But we can't do that, right? Our equal still has to go here. It's still to the right of the 24. This doesn't just cancel out and eliminate and go away and disappear. It turns into a 0. So now I'm going to add 24 on both sides and get 4x equals 24. Divide both sides by 4, and x equals 24 divided by 4 is 6. So my value of x is 6. Okay? And we can plug it in and check our answers and make sure that we are correct. When we plug that 6 in, I would do 7 times 6 minus 24. So 7 times 6 is 42. Minus 24, 42 minus 24 is 18 degrees. 3 times 6 is also 18 degrees. So those two angles do have congruent values. So we know that we can feel confident that x really is 6. Okay? When I look at the next one, R is parallel to S. Now, if they tell me that R is parallel to S, even though in my picture it does not look at all like those are parallel, I have to believe them. Okay? So I'm going to look at 4 and 9. So here's 4, and here is 9. So those are on the same side of this line here, and they're on the inside of R and S. So they are same side, interior, which means they're not congruent. It means they add up to make 180. They are supplementary. My 10x minus 20 plus my 9x plus 10 is going to be equal to 180 degrees. First thing I'm going to do is combine my like terms. 10x plus 9x is 19x. And then my minus 20 plus my 10 is a minus 10 equals 180. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. And I get 19x equals 190. Divide both sides by 19. Division property of equality. And we get x equals 10. When I plug that in, 10 times 10 is 100. And 100 minus 20 is 80 degrees. 9 times 10 is 90. Plus 10 is 100 degrees. So they're not equal like we were over here. But that's okay. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be supplementary. So they should together add up to 180, which they do. 80 plus 100 is 180. I can feel confident that x really does equal 10. Okay? Hopefully if you have forgotten any of your information about transversals, hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for watching.